Despite the previous night's panic over my fever, I woke up the next morning in fairly good spirits. The fever had kind of come and gone throughout the night, but when I was up the next morning, I felt fine. My mind had been racing though, which didn't help with sleep. Had I drunk anything strange? Was my filter working? Had I eaten anything weird? Had I washed my hands enough? But what I really didn't want to have to do is phone mountain rescue. And that was something I'd been worried about from the start, because if you're stuck up a mountain and you fall ill, there's not much else you can do. In the end, everything turned out for the best, but it's something I'm going to be wary of in future excursions, and I might take some water purifying tablets as well as my filter, just for the peace of mind. The return of the terrible coffee. Baked bean spot. So I pitched my tent up here last night. It was very windy, it was raining, wasn't much to show, but the views this morning are nice. I just wish the sun had come out. Still, I've had I've just had breakfast, in case you weren't paying attention. And now I'm just making myself a terrible coffee. Few fallbacks. The sleeping bag I brought with me was far too thin, really, for the weather. It's really not warm enough at all. I don't know, we didn't get down to minus temperatures, but we were probably down to like 4 or 3 last night, and the maximum temperature for that sleeping bag I've got is, or the minimum rather, is 5, and that's optimistic. It's like more meant for real proper summer weather, so there you go. You can't have it all. I was a bit cold in the night, back's playing up this morning, God, am I 26? And now I'm just making myself, like I said, a terrible coffee. Right, I added 2 packets this time and a lot less water, and for some reason it still didn't boil, so I don't know what's wrong with this coffee. Let's have a go. Nah, still disgusting. It's just really bland and like I say, it doesn't get hot. It's so weird. But yeah, if I go on another multi-dayer, it'll have to be a different brand of coffee, a good one. I'm just too used to French coffee. This is a poor imitation, has to be said. Okay, I'm really tempted to go for a swim in here, because my back, from carrying these kgs around, is really playing up. And to be honest, this looks so nice. It's like an infinity pool, isn't it? It's like a natural infinity pool. So, I would really like to, but I don't know if I'm going to, because it's very cold. Well, I say that, it was colder this morning, it's warming up a bit now. And I could just do it starkers, couldn't I? And then get back in the same clothes. And then just walk on. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to go and have a look up over the hill to make sure that there's actually something there. Some kind of path or way to get down. Because if I've got to go all the way back, I won't be wanting to have a swim first. That is for certain. Boo, and I got no bars. Got no bars if something goes wrong on my phone. Yeah. Ooh, there's a lot of this growth here, like orange and red growth, and I'm not used to seeing it in Europe, but on the European continent at least. Let's not get political. But yeah, it's kind of spooky. It looks like something's died there and decomposted. decomposed. But I don't know, it seems pretty harmless. Anyway, this morning I was just happy that none of the Range Rovers found me, because how could they out here? There's literally like 700 meter ascent on a single track, so there's really no way they could have possibly got really very close to me. Oh, I really want to go for a swim. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna just go and check how truthful my OS map is being, and then I'm gonna go for a little swim in the water. Ooh, yeah. Oh, it's so peaceful. Oh, it's so gorgeous. No evidence of a path. None whatsoever. Bloody hell. Sorry, the crevice in that rock seems to go down for ages. Using the OS Map app, I've eventually managed to track down the path. It was really thin and nobody had used it in ages. In some places, it was barely even existent. But safe in the knowledge that it was there and that I could find it again, I returned to the so-called infinity pool for a quick dip. Hey, it's not going to be a warm one. Gotta do it though. Gotta be done. Luckily for everyone involved, my camera went completely out of focus at this point. Yes, boy! So I've just got back to Loch, which is where I camped the first night. I camped just here, and I'm standing now exactly where the Land Rover came, the first Land Rover came and was sort of looking at me. So yeah, still don't know what that was about, but I think he was just checking. Which is fair enough. I didn't realise it was so well managed, to be fair. So I've just come back now down the hill from my little lake swim. That's taken me an hour and a half roughly. I've been going pretty lightly. Stopped for some lunch and made a coffee at the same time. Proper ground coffee, so a little bit better. Well, at least it's giving me a bit of a buzz. That's the main thing. But yeah, onwards and upwards, and now I'm going to be back off to Loch Ericht, I'm going to spend the night in Dalwhinnie, provided that the bloke still has a spot in his hostel, and I've got to find a way to get some cash out as well, because there's only basically a post office and a bar and the hostel, so hopefully someone will do some cash back for me. But it's the randomness of being on an adventure, so we carry on. Oh, is that messy? It's just a little island floaty thing. Okay, got myself in a bit of a pickle here. I tried to join back onto a path that I'd just been on to get here, to get to the Ben Alder estate, and unfortunately it forced me down onto the lake side, and it doesn't look like much, but this terrain is really technical, and it's just exhausting, and just not knowing whether I'm going to be able to get back onto the proper trackway is a bit nerve-wracking. Expect I'll make it eventually, but I really don't want to have to turn back, because I've been walking for a good 15 minutes now, and I haven't made a whole lot of progress. Okay, that was a bit nerve-wracking. Had to climb up a part like that, although it doesn't look that bad, but it's quite steep. Someone had obviously made the same mistake as me. Well, somebody had obviously made the same mistake as me a long time ago, because there were some remnants of a rusty bike down there. So whether the rider made it out alive, I don't know, but also a bit of the sort of edge of a road had been clearly walked up and trampled on, which kind of reassured me in the fact that I was probably going to be able to climb it up, because someone else already had, obviously, but also made the ground looser, which it was already very loose, so made me stumble a couple of times. But got the adrenaline pumping, but I'm out of there now. Whew. Not going back down there again. At the last moment, I decided not to head to the hostel. I got a tip off from a local about a spot where I could perhaps wild camp, which would be much closer to the bus I needed to catch the next morning. Since it also offered the prospect of sleeping in a less windy spot, and since the temperatures weren't going to drop so badly that night, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to try out tenting without all the little niggles that I'd been having so far. And since despite all the niggles, I had actually been enjoying sleeping in the tent and pitching it up and taking it down, and just the independence that comes with that, I decided that that's exactly what I'd do. So I'm just doing a bit of urban stealth camping here. I've been told that people do camp in this field. There's a lot of litter about, so I picked some of that up. If anyone comes and tells me to move, I'll say, look, I'm not causing any trouble, just trying to pitch up for the night near the town, or village, or it's barely even a village, to be honest. And fortunately managed to find a little bottle of rouge at the last minute shop there that I found for the win, and they didn't appear to have any drink at all, and I was kind of asking the lady, is there nowhere else I can, get a drink for the night? She's like, nothing's open in town, let me just have a look around the back. And she comes out with this bottle of, what is it? Campo de Viejo 2021 Rioja Tempranillo. Oh, maybe not drink out the bottle. We are civilized here. So just to reward me for my feats. Having a little bottle of something help me sleep as well. Probably won't sleep that well because I'm in an urban environment now, but gotta be done. It's gotta be done. So cheers. Also, I used the technique that involves a lighter and a cork. Didn't work. Only time it worked is when I ended up using the stove to force the air to heat, and it took forever. It worked eventually. I think it cracked some of the top of the bottle, which got too hot, so that was quite dangerous. But what was more dangerous is that it came out so the first half came out, that's fine, but then the second half was stuck in there, so I carried on heating it, looked in, which you're never supposed to do, looked in, tilted it back, and not within half a second of me looking down, it popped out. Could have taken my eye out, but you live and learn. It's been an amazing adventure. What's really hit me is the peacefulness, and for the longest time, like a lot of this, obviously I'm filming some of it, but a lot of this I haven't been showing, and it's just being out in nature and being off the technology. The first night, interestingly, very interesting, I pitched up and was so I'd got in my tent and everything. I was warm enough, fairly satisfied, but I was just sort of lying about and thinking. So a lot of it was, I was ruminating a lot, thinking about the past, the present, my current life, not worrying so much about the future, which I often do, strangely. But I was, a little bit melancholic, and I didn't have any of the booze with me, so I had to kind of ruminate on that, and that was interesting. That was very interesting. Like I say, it's my first night out, my first night solo camping, and completely cut off from everything. But it was all right. The melancholy was not overwhelming. It was a little bit of a reflection on modern day society, I suppose, and like how we live today, how people lived in the past, and being like I was, obviously dependent hugely on modern day society, like my tent, my food, my filtration system, everything is completely, I would never have achieved this or anything like this had I been on my own. But at the same time, living for a snapshot of a second, living like one of my ancestors might have, or someone who came before me might have. It was very, it really, it dug deep. But anyway, that's it. If you've made it till here, thank you very much for watching. I expect you haven't, but if you have, honestly, thank you. And hope you enjoyed the trip. I certainly did. It's been a complete eye-opener for me. I hope to do it again. I'm just looking forward to the next one now. It's worrying, really. Put so much dosh into this one, it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to spend as much on the next one. Well, I won't, because I've paid for the tent, I've paid for the camping gear, everything, so it's gonna be a good one. Anyway, Hope you have an excellent morning, evening, afternoon, and see you next time.